At 80, I've made my fair share of mistakes, but none as heartbreaking as the day I moved into a nursing home. Back then, it felt like the right decision. My family said it would be safer, more comfortable. You'll be well cared for, they told me. I nodded, smiled, and packed up decades of memories into a few boxes. I told myself it wasn't the end of my independence, just a new chapter. I was wrong. The moment I stepped into that building, I felt something shift. The walls were clean, the staff were kind, but it wasn't home. My routines disappeared. My space shrank. And slowly, so did my sense of self. People don't talk about what really happens after you move in. They don't tell you how quiet the days become, how your phone rings less, or how much you'll miss choosing your own breakfast. I wish someone had sat me down and told me the truth, not just about what I'd gain, but about everything I'd be giving up. So today, I'm sharing my story. Not to blame, not to complain, but to prepare you before you make the same choice I did. Lesson 1. Losing your freedom and why it hurts more than you expect. When I first moved into the nursing home, I expected change, but I didn't expect to lose my freedom. Not really. I figured I'd still wake up when I wanted, choose what I'd eat, take a walk when the weather was nice. I thought, sure, there'll be rules, but I'm still me. I was wrong. One of the hardest things to explain to people who've never lived in a facility is just how fast the small freedoms disappear. At home, I had a rhythm. My morning coffee, my quiet reading corner, the smell of toast just the way I liked it. If I felt like making soup at 10 p.m., I did it. If I wanted to sit outside and watch the birds, nobody stopped me. But once I entered the nursing home, those choices vanished on by one. Breakfast is at 7:30, whether you're hungry or not. Lights go out at a set time, even if you're wide awake. If you want to take a walk outside, you need to wait until someone's available to help. Sometimes, you wait a long time. I started asking for less, not because I didn't want things, but because I hated the feeling of asking. Simple things, like deciding what to wear or when to shower, became controlled by a schedule that wasn't mine, and eventually, I just stopped deciding. The staff meant well. They were doing their jobs. But that's part of the problem. In a system built for efficiency, your individuality starts to fade. You're no longer Mr. Thomas who loves jazz and gardening. You're just room 112. Here's what no one warns you about. When you give up the small freedoms, you start to lose your identity. And once that's gone, it's not easy to back. Freedom isn't just about big, dramatic acts, like traveling or making life-changing decisions. It's in the quiet control we have over our day, what we eat, when we speak, what we do with our time. That's what makes a person feel alive. And in the nursing home, those freedoms get replaced by routines designed for everyone but not for you. Now, I'm not saying no one should ever consider a nursing home. Some people need the care, but if you're still capable, still able to make your own decisions, fight to keep that independence. Look into home care options. Explore community support. Ask your family to help you stay where you're comfortable, even if it takes more work. Because once your freedom is gone, you realize it wasn't a luxury. It was the foundation of your dignity, your joy, and your very sense of self. And trust me, you will miss it more than you ever imagined. Lesson 2. Feeling forgotten. When love becomes distance. When I first moved into the nursing home, my daughter hugged me tight and said, "We'll visit every weekend, Mom. I promise." My grandchildren nodded, smiling. It felt reassuring. I believed them. And for a while, they kept that promise. Sundays were the best days, hearing the laughter of my grandkids echo through the halls, sharing cookies in the garden, chatting about their week. I clung to those visits. They reminded me I still mattered. But slowly, the visits became phone calls, then texts, then silence. At first, there were reasons: school was busy, work got hectic, someone had a cold. I understood. Life happens. But time kept passing, and I found myself sitting by the window more often, hoping today would be the day someone came. Most days, no one did. Here's what I've learned. It's not that people stop loving you, it's that distance creates forgetfulness. When you're no longer physically part of someone's daily life, it becomes easier for them to assume you're okay, that you're settled, that you've adjusted. They don't see the empty lunch table, the quiet common room, the way you light up when your phone finally rings. They don't hear your heart whisper, "I just want to feel included." This isn't about blame. My family still cares. But caring from a distance is different. It lacks the warmth, the presence, the simple comfort of showing up. And in a place where time feels slow and days blend together, that absence feels sharper than ever. I began to notice other residents going through the same thing. We'd smile politely at one another, trying to ignore the heaviness of waiting. Some kept calendars on their walls, circling upcoming birthdays or holidays, hoping this time someone would show up. And when they didn't, it broke a piece of them. Here's the practical truth. Before you move into a nursing home, ask yourself if you're emotionally ready for the loneliness. Because it's real. And it's quiet. And it doesn't always come from being alone, it comes from being left behind. If you're still living at home and your health allows it, talk to your family about staying connected in more consistent, meaningful ways. Maybe it's weekly lunches, helping with errands, or video calls. Small gestures go a long way. And if you're helping a parent transition into care, please don't underestimate the power of presence. 10 minutes face-to-face is worth more than a dozen thinking of you texts. Because once the visits fade, so does the sense that you still belong. And belonging, that sense of being woven into someone's life, is what keeps us emotionally alive. So, if you're considering a nursing home, think beyond the physical needs. Ask yourself, who will I still see? Who will still see me? Because being loved is one thing, but being remembered is everything. Lesson 3. Losing your sense of purpose, when your days stop having meaning. I used to wake up with a reason. It didn't have to be anything grand. Maybe it was watering the roses, folding laundry while humming to the radio, or writing a letter to an old friend. Each small task gave structure to my day. Purpose doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to exist. But when I moved into the nursing home, that quiet sense of meaning slowly faded. At first, I told myself it would be relaxing. No chores, no responsibilities. Meals were brought to me, laundry was done, and I no longer had to worry about shopping or cooking. It sounded like a dream. But after a few weeks, I began to feel empty. You see, we don't just do things, we do them because they make us feel useful, alive, connected. One day, I sat in the common room and looked around. People I had once seen chatting and reading were now sitting in silence, their eyes staring past the television. They weren't tired, they were disengaged. Not because they didn't care, but because there was nothing left they could care for. I remember a man named George. Back home, he had been a carpenter. His hands were always moving, fixing a chair, carving a new frame, tinkering in his garage. In the nursing home, those same hands sat folded in his lap day after day. I asked him once if he missed his tools. He looked at me and said quietly, "I miss having a reason to use them." That hit me hard. Without something to take care of, something to look forward to, the mind starts to drift. You lose track of time, your thoughts become foggy, and you begin to question what you're even doing here. It's not just boredom, it's a kind of fading. Here's the hard truth. In many nursing homes, comfort can come at the cost of contribution. You're no longer needed, just managed. And that shift from participant to passenger can slowly steal your joy. So what can you do? If you're still at home, fight to keep your routines. Don't give up the little tasks that make your days feel personal. Cook your meals, feed the birds, organize the photo albums, whatever keeps your hands and heart active. If you're already in care, ask about volunteer roles within the home. Lead a card game, read to someone who can't see well. Start a weekly storytelling circle. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to matter to someone. And if you're supporting an elderly loved one, don't just ask how they feel. Ask them what they still do. Help them hold on to purpose, no matter how small. Because the truth is this, we don't age because we grow old, we age because we stop feeling needed. And without a reason to get up in the morning, even the softest bed becomes a cage. Lesson 4. Declining health faster than expected. When taking it easy comes at a cost. Before I moved into the nursing home, I was doing well for someone my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could still manage my home, cook my meals, and take a daily walk around the block. Those routines kept me sharp mentally and physically. But within just a few months of moving into care, something changed. At first, it felt like a blessing. Meals were delivered. I didn't have to worry about cleaning or errands. If I needed anything, all I had to do was press a button. I thought, this is what rest looks like. But it wasn't rest. It was the beginning of decline. I stopped standing in the kitchen. I stopped walking to the mailbox. I stopped stretching each morning because I didn't feel like I needed to. And slowly, my body responded in the only way it knows how when it's not used. It weakened. What used to be easy, getting out of a chair, climbing a few steps, reaching for something on a high shelf, became hard. I found myself breathing heavier. My legs ached. And then came the walker. Eventually, I needed help with things I'd always done on my own. And I wasn't the only one. There was a woman named Alice. She was 81 when she arrived, full of energy, always insisting, "I won't slow down just because of my age." She walked every morning around the garden path. But slowly, her walks got shorter. Then came the cane. Then the wheelchair. One day she looked at me and said, "I feel like I aged 10 years in just a few months." That's when it hit me. This place didn't make us old, it just stopped asking us to stay young. Here's the truth no one tells you: the less you do, the more you lose. And in nursing homes, everything is designed to make life easier. But sometimes, easy isn't what you need. Sometimes, the challenge is what keeps you strong. If you're still living independently, take this as a wake-up call. Don't stop moving. Keep walking. Do the dishes. Tend to your garden. Stand, stretch, reach. Balance. Every small action matters. Use your muscles. Keep your joints active. You're not just staying busy, you're staying capable. If you're already in care, find ways to move every single day. Ask your caregivers about exercise programs. Walk the hallway after lunch. Do seated stretches in your room. Use resistance bands. Get your body involved in your daily life. Because once your strength goes, it's hard to get it back. And with that strength goes your independence. The biggest regret isn't just getting weaker. It's knowing I could have done something about it earlier. So I'm telling you now. Rest is important, but movement is survival. Don't let taking it easy take away what you've spent a lifetime building: your strength, your confidence, and your freedom to live on your terms. Lesson 5. Losing privacy and dignity. When everyday moments stop being yours. At home, I could close the bathroom door and know no one would walk in. I could sit in silence, undisturbed, or play music and dance in the kitchen if the mood struck. I could choose when to shower, what to wear, and when I wanted to just be left alone. But in the nursing home, privacy isn't a guarantee, it's a privilege. One that, more often than not, fades quickly. From the moment I arrived, people were in and out of my room: nurses checking vitals, aides delivering medication, staff tidying up. They meant well. But over time, I began to feel like I was always being watched. Even during personal moments, I wasn't truly alone. Want to use the restroom? Press the call button and wait. Need a shower? You'll have to schedule it and wait for help. Sometimes, it meant being exposed physically or emotionally in ways that made me deeply uncomfortable. Things I'd done independently for 80 years now required assistance. And even when help was gentle, it felt like a piece of my dignity slipped away. Then there's the issue of roommates. Not everyone gets a private room. I was lucky I had a kind woman who shared my love of puzzles and quiet afternoons. But I heard stories of others who weren't as fortunate. Roommates who were loud, combative, confused, or even unclean. And in such close quarters, it's hard to find peace when you can't choose who shares your most intimate space. Here's the hardest part. It's not just about physical privacy, it's about feeling like you still have control over your life. There were moments when staff would knock and enter before I could respond. Times when I was spoken to like a patient, not a person. When your day is dictated by someone else's clipboard, your voice can feel smaller, quieter, less important. This isn't about blaming caregivers. Many of them are doing the best they can in a system that prioritizes efficiency over individuality. But as a resident, it wears on you. The constant interruptions, the lack of choice, the shared space, it slowly chips away at your sense of self-worth. So, what's the takeaway? If you're still in your own home, cherish your privacy and protect it as long as possible. Talk to your family about in-home care options that preserve your autonomy. Invest in making your home safer rather than surrendering your independence. If you're in a facility, advocate for small freedoms. Ask for quiet hours. Request the same caregiver for sensitive tasks if possible. Speak up when you feel your dignity slipping. You still have a voice, and it matters. Because here's the truth. Dignity, it's a necessity. And once it's gone, it's one of the hardest things to reclaim. Lesson 6. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. when temporary becomes permanent. When I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself it was just a trial. I'd try it out for a few months, see how it felt, and if it wasn't right, I'd go back home. It sounded reasonable. I even left some of my belongings at the house: my favorite books, my garden tools, the quilt my mother made. I figured I'd be back before long. But here's the hard truth no one tells you. Once you move in, getting out isn't as easy as you think. At first, everything seems reversible. But little by little, your old life starts to disappear. My children meant well, but they assumed I'd settled in. They started giving away things I wasn't using, donating clothes, selling furniture, discussing what to do with the house. "We're just helping you downsize, Mom," they said. But each decision pushed me further away from the possibility of returning. And that was only part of the problem. The other part, the part no one prepares you for, is how quickly your body and mind begin to adapt to the facility. Or maybe adapt isn't the right word. Maybe slow down is more honest. You see, in a nursing home, everything is done for you. Meals are served, beds are made, medications are delivered. At first, it feels like luxury. But that luxury dulls your instincts. You stop reaching for things. You stop bending, lifting, cooking, climbing stairs. The very skills that once made you independent begin to fade. By the time I considered going back home, I realized I wasn't sure I could do it anymore. Could I make it through a day alone, cook a meal safely, climb into the shower by myself? And that fear, that loss of confidence, is what traps many of us here longer than we ever planned. I've met people who thought they'd only be in the home for a short recovery after surgery, or just to take pressure off the family for a few months. But weeks turn to months. Their houses get rented or sold. Their bank accounts shrink from monthly care fees. And soon, they're not just living in a facility, they're dependent on it. Here's a reality check. The longer you stay, the harder it is to go back. That doesn't mean no one can leave. Some do. But it takes planning, strength, support, and, honestly, a little stubbornness. You have to fight for your freedom before you lose the power to choose. So what should you do if you're considering a nursing home? 1. Be crystal clear on your plan. Is this move temporary or permanent? Write it down. Discuss it with your family. Create a clear exit strategy. What would need to happen for you to return home? 2. Keep your home if you can. Even if you don't live in it full-time, having a place to return to makes a world of difference. Renting it out temporarily is fine, but selling it closes doors you may one day wish were open. 3. Stay active and involved. Don't let the comfort of care make you passive. Keep walking, cooking, writing, stretching, whatever reminds your body and mind that you're still capable. 4. Speak up. Let your caregivers and family know that you haven't given up on living independently. Ask about in-home care options or community support programs that can bridge the gap. Because here's what I wish someone had told me. It's not the doors that lock behind you, it's the slow loss of choices that keeps you from walking back out. If you're still able, still sharp, still strong, hold on to your independence like it's your most valuable possession. Because it is. Don't wait until the routines become too comfortable. Until your muscles forget how to climb stairs. Or until your home is no longer yours to return to. Don't wait until the fear of change becomes stronger than your desire for freedom. Because the longer you stay, the harder it is to leave. And sometimes, the chance to go back doesn't come twice. Lesson 7. Don't settle for convenience. Fight for what's right. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't change the fact that I've grown old. I've earned every wrinkle, every story, every scar. But I would change one thing. I wouldn't have accepted a nursing home so easily. I made the decision at a time when I was tired, overwhelmed, and honestly, a little scared. The idea of having help meals prepared, medications managed, safety guaranteed was appealing. My family told me it was the best choice. I told myself it was the easiest path. But here's what I've come to realize. The easiest choice isn't always the right one. It's easy to move into a place where people take care of everything for you. It's easy to say yes when you're tired of cooking, cleaning, and worrying about stairs. But in choosing convenience, I gave up things I didn't fully understand until they were gone: my routines, my independence, my voice in daily life. This is the final and maybe most important lesson I've learned. Don't confuse comfort with freedom, and don't assume safety means fulfillment. There were other options I didn't explore because they seemed harder at the time. I could have hired part-time help at home. I could have adjusted my living space, grab bars, a walk-in tub, a stair lift. I could have reached out to local senior services, church groups, or community programs. But I didn't fight for those things. I chose what felt simple, not what was best for me. And I want to encourage you, before you give up your home, your habits, your control, ask yourself, is this what's truly best for me, or is it just the most convenient? Ask for a second opinion. Talk to someone who's made the move. Think beyond today. How will this decision affect how you feel about yourself in 6 months, a year, 5 years? This isn't to say nursing homes are wrong for everyone. Some people truly need the level of care they provide. But what I regret is not asking more questions. Not pausing long enough to be sure. Not speaking up for what I wanted, before letting others decide what was best for me. So, if you're still standing at that crossroads, don't settle. Explore. Ask. Push back. Speak up. Because once you cross that line, it's not just a change of address. It's a change in identity, purpose, freedom, and lifestyle. And those are not things you should give up lightly. The truth is, life isn't about finding what's easy, it's about protecting what's worth it. And your independence, your home, your self-worth, are worth it. Fight for them. Final thoughts: hold on to what matters most. Looking back, I don't regret aging. Aging is a privilege not everyone gets. What I regret is assuming that giving up control, freedom, and identity was a natural part of growing old. It's not. Moving into a nursing home changed everything, and not in the way I hoped. It promised comfort, safety, and ease. But it came at a cost I didn't fully understand until it was too late. I lost my independence. I felt forgotten. My sense of purpose faded. My health declined. My privacy vanished. Leaving became harder than I imagined. And in the end, I realized the biggest mistake I made was settling for what seemed convenient, instead of fighting for what was right for me. If you're reading this now, maybe you're standing where I once stood. Maybe you're tired, overwhelmed, and just trying to make the smart choice. But before you decide, stop. Think. Ask the hard questions. Demand the full truth, not just what's easy to hear. Because once you step into that life, stepping back out isn't guaranteed. Fight for your independence. Fight for your home. Fight for your right to live life on your own terms. You've spent a lifetime building a life that's yours. Don't give it away without a fight. You are not a burden. You are not done. You still matter. So stand your ground. Speak your truth. And never forget you are worth fighting for.